All right, week 3 in CIT82, and this is me, Rio. Hey, listen, I just finished grading the week 2 stuff that was submitted, and I was reflecting upon some of the core things that I see happening. So I've decided to, in week 3, we'll have a lecture. We'll continue the lynda.com web technologies. But I'm going to do a little bit of a do-over, a little bit on some work, and let's actually make sure we're all on the same page about some stuff. So, because as I was looking at the homework, there's many folks that have got this down and are working on it great, and some of them need a little more help, and that's okay. That's actually what I'm here to do. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and turn to the course and just talk about the work that's going to be for this week, okay? So, and remember, right, so attendance is due. You only have to do a simple reply. I added a video last week, and some of you really seem to enjoy that. That's cool. So I'll do that again this week. So it'll be available at 8 o'clock on Monday. It will go through Friday at noon, and it's really the way I see if you're here. Okay, so the work next week, in addition to that, so you have this coming up. And the other thing about this is I just want to be clear. I had said this at the beginning, so I'm going to say it again. I really hope to see people posting ahead of the due date. And what that allows other students to do is hit reply. But I also think the part of the reason you may not be posting as early as you might is some of you may have got hung up on the hands-on assignment this week. Okay? So here's what I've decided to do on that. Is on the hands-on where I wanted you to do the IP addresses. Let me just actually go there rather than to look at it that way. I've given you a video, and I only, as of today, saw one person post in there. So I'm like, okay, either it was just, like it didn't make sense when you looked at it. Oh, sorry, I'm going the wrong place, modules. So this item right here, right? So this is the one coming up. So the reason I'm talking about it now is that do whatever part of this, right? So Jeremy did this, and Jeremy, thank you. And I said to here, I said, I've given you an example of what I wanted to see. And so this is just the beginnings of what I wanted to see, which is really for you to create a graphic, talk about your IP connections, your public IPs if you're sitting behind a network, your private IPs in that situation, or public IPs if you're directly connected, right? So I think what Jeremy did is that I had given some instruction for a previous class, and he just kind of went through and did the parts that he felt like I wanted, and from this other one. So what I'm going to do in this case, so let me be clear, is that, if you can find your IPs and you know how to do that, good, just do that. If you need help with that, obviously ask questions if you need that. But if this week you want to just find your IP addresses for the various connections that you have, that's good. Know that next week you do have to do this map, okay? So again, it's one of those things that I assume coming in that you have a certain level of knowledge about how to find your IP addresses, how to do simple graphics like this. But, it's also good. And actually what you're going to see in the week 3 current topics, I'm going to specifically ask you for, what is it that you need? And I'm going to allow people, so I know I'm going multiple directions, so let me slow down. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let me just go and show you. So let me complete that topic, right? So if you know how to post your IP addresses, here are your links, right? So in this case, and notice Jeremy did this, is he used some kind of editing tool within his graphics program to have those not show up, okay? And that's good. And that was the idea that I talked about last week. Okay, so you're ultimately going to have the map next week. And this week, I'm not changing the websites versus web apps, that'll still be there, okay? So what I've done in week 3 is I've said map these IPs, right? So again, I suspect that you might want to get a little more help finding these IPs, and that other video I think will help you, okay? But ultimately, you got to end up in week 3 with that map done. So here's what I was referring to when I said, what do you need? In week 3 is tell me what you need, right? So think about from the beginning of this class, right? All the different things that we've been introduced to. Canvas for everyone has been new, I'm guessing, even for me. So learning how to use, so like in this discussion board, you might post, I want to be able to know how to do X, Y, Z, or ABC on Canvas that I'm just not knowing how to do, okay? Like here's one thing I've heard. So when you're doing replies and you're setting up a link, right? So, when you're doing that, you do the text, and let me just increase so you can see this. You write the text, and then in this case, because I've blown it up, but it's here, link to the URL, right? So, whoop, where did it go? Is it just in another window? Link to the URL. Might be popping up in another window because of the way I have it set. So let me try this again. So I'm going to do this. I'm like, what's happening? Maybe that's what you're encountering, right? So let me try this again. Matter of fact, let me just come back in here because maybe it's that inner reply in this case. So let's try this again. So really what I'm talking about is the idea of a link, right? So this is something I've had a couple of people ask me, so I thought it would be good to do it. So link here, and then I'm going to click drag across. There we go. Okay, for some reason it just didn't show up before. So this would be where you would paste, right? If you had something from your Google Docs, right? So you want to be able to share things, so understanding. So maybe that's one of your questions, right? Is that I'm still not sure, Rio, about this whole Google Doc thing, right? I'm not sure how this works. If you're struggling with that, please tell me, right? So here's like kind of that example. Here's just a graphic. So in this case, you have to think about when I'm going to post the URL, right? And by the way, you can actually just grab the URL up here. The key to knowing how to share it is how you're submitting it. So remember, your hands-on and your discussion boards, everyone sees them. So when you share links, you have to make them shareable, right? So share, and you have to make them, and you know it's shareable when your box is green. But on the lectures, those are only between you and I. So when you share them, you put me specifically, Ria Waller at Gmail, and you only share them between you and I. That actually seemed to work fine. What I saw folks had a challenge with is that I said I wanted all the docs, all the notes in one doc, and I wanted your most current stuff at the top. So what I saw on several this grading period that I just finished a little while ago is that folks who got the idea of the single doc put the most current at the bottom. So imagine me coming into grading, I want to see the most current stuff at the top. So just redo those, okay? So that's the other thing I was going to say about this is I've kind of like been thinking about this, and I want to give you kind of a amnesty pass here. So if you've missed anything from the beginning until now, I'm going to allow you to resubmit it. Because normally, if you didn't hear me say this, it's 25% off if you submit things late. So if you want to fix something, or if I just, gave you late points off, you have to just say, hey, Rio, you've said we have amnesty, I want those back. Or you would just submit the work and correct it, right? So whatever way you do it, fix something that you've missed. So, and if you've missed it completely, now's the time to do it. Because trust me, I won't do this particular thing again. And it's really my way to try to say, let's make sure we're all on the same page, okay? All right. So coming back here, right? So let me go back to Canvas, right? So I'm going to go back here. So I think that's kind of what I was thinking about with this, that's what I was thinking about for this week, is I really wanted to say, let's kind of hit that reset button a little bit, both from allowing you to resubmit grades. Let's give you an opportunity to say, hey, this is what I need. And remember, the other thing I said that I want to make sure we're clear on, if you're looking ahead, and I will have by the time you've seen this, which will be the first of next week possibly, I will have the next lynda.com series that we're going to do, and I think it's going to be the HTML. Like I said, I think I've decided to forego the web design one because I feel like the web technologies really covered that. So if you, though, look ahead at a topic and go, you know what, I know that enough to where I want to go study something else related at a bigger, deeper depth, then you just need to tell me at least a week ahead of the time that that's what you're going to do, okay? So hopefully your you're starting to get the hang of this class. I know we all are kind of, in the beginnings of the first part of the semester, just trying to figure out how everything works. The other thing I would say to you is that I think how many are on here? And let me actually just go check. And what I mean by that is we have a chat, right? So I've set it up, and it looks like there's 9 of you on there right now, okay? So what's great about this is that you have more of an access to not just me, right, but your fellow students. So email me, riowaller@gmail. Hopefully you're getting that, right? And by the way, some of you are also using Canvas to send me messages. Those go to my campus email, and I tend to not check that as regularly as Gmail. So I've said at the beginning, very first week 1, use Gmail. So if you missed that, please do. Okay, I think that's about what I wanted to say. So we're doing a little bit of a redo. We continue on with the lectures. I'm giving you an opportunity to say what it was that you needed, or what it was that you feel like you would like to know how this works. Like if there's something in Canvas, is there something about sharing, if there's something about the Google Doc, right? Maybe this video cleared it up and you can say, oh yeah, by covering it in that video, Rio, I now have it. And that would be your discussion board. And do substantive replies, right? So that's the other thing is that I said last week too, is that the way I had the discussion board set up, at least on both of them, you couldn't see anybody else's reply until you did yours. And I decided to switch that right after the video because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, on the hands-on stuff, I probably would want to let you see somebody else's work so that you could see examples. So I think I've kind of switched my mind about this and said, maybe I don't like this feature. I kind of like students to be able to go in there, you see examples of what other students do, and it helps you understand what the work is needed. So I think I will be changing that. And again, that would be something in your week 3, what do you need? You might just give me feedback on, right? And that would be the other thing is like, if everything's working cool for you and you just want to give me some feedback, take that opportunity to do it. Okay, I think this is good. I think we're good. All right. All right, remember I'm on campus. My office hours are listed in the syllabus, right? So they're listed in here. You can come see me. Do know that on Tuesday and Thursday at this time, where it says office hour, I'm actually in the lab 127, right? So, oh, by the way, let me end with this. So mark your calendars. October 17th here at Fresno City College is DevFest. Okay, Developer Fest 2015. It's a great event from 10 in the morning until 3, and you'll get a nice event t-shirt. We'll feed you a little bit of breakfast and some lunch. So I'll have more information, but if you want, save the date so you can come, because this is going to be a great fun day of learning about all things development related from the beginning, intermediate, and advanced tracks. All right, I really do think I might be done. Have a great weekend.